Now, I believe there's a dangerous moment every society reaches when those who benefit most from a system begins to claim that they are the ones being harmed by it. Now, that moment, ladies and gentlemen, has arrived again. Now, not so long ago, the Trump administration ignited outrage after the head of Employment Opportunity Commission, Andrea Lucas, suggested that white men are the real victims of workplace discrimination and should seek compensation under civil rights laws. Now, let that sink in for a second, because the very laws created to protect people locked out of opportunity are now being marketed to those who historically controlled it. Let's watch and we'll discuss.
I'm Andrea Lucas, chair of the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Are you a white male who's experienced discrimination at work based on your race or sex? You may have a claim to recover money under federal civil rights laws. Contact the EEOC as soon as possible. Time limits are typically strict for filing a claim. The EEOC is the federal agency charged with enforcing federal anti-discrimination law against businesses and other private sector employers. The EEOC is committed to identifying, attacking, and eliminating all forms of race and sex discrimination, including against white male applicants and employees.
In a video posted to X, Lucas addressed white men directly. And this wasn't satire, but this was federal government under a Trump appointee actively encouraging white men to file civil rights complaints. The response, of course, was quite swift online. And I quote, "White man reparations just drop," one user joked. But behind the humor is something far more serious. This right here is strategy. In this version of reality, history doesn't matter. Structures don't matter. Outcomes don't matter. Only feelings do. Because suddenly, the most protected group in modern history is recast as endangered. And as a Black South African myself, I know this tactic quite well. I mean, we have lived through it during apartheid final years, and till this day, we are living through it with the fake white genocide rumors that are going on. When white South Africans who owned the land, owned the banks, the factories, the state, begin insisting that they are the victims of coitus, victims of transformation, by the way, and victims of the future, it wasn't true then, and it isn't true now. But it was effective, because grievance in itself, when weaponized, is quite powerful. Now, I do want us to ground ourselves a bit in reality for a second. Because decades of research, and I mean decades, show that Black Americans continue to face systemic discrimination in employment. The Black unemployment rate in itself remains roughly double of white workers. Black candidates are less likely to be called back with identical CVs, we know that. Black workers are paid less for the same roles, we are aware of that. And Black professionals are disciplined more harshly and promoted more slowly. These are not opinions, but these are patterns, these are stats. So when the head of the EEOC speaks as if discrimination is now primarily a white male experience, she's definitely not being neutral, but she's rewriting reality. Because civil rights laws were not created because white men lacked opportunity, but they were created because Black people were locked out. Women were excluded. Minorities were segregated, they were underpaid, and they were erased. So to now use those same laws to center white grievance, it's not progress, it is capture. And this is what happens when power takes the language of justice and empties it of meaning. And let's be very clear. Discrimination is not about isolated discomfort. It's about patterns that are backed by power. A white man not getting a job does not automatically equal discrimination, please. A Black community locked out of employment for generations, that is discrimination. So power does not become oppressed because it feels inconvenience, no. And yet, they want us to believe that equality in itself is now unfair. Africa should be paying close attention, especially South Africa. Because the same arguments are made here, that redress is discrimination, that equity is bias, right? That history should be ignored because it's in the past. But inequality doesn't expire just because it makes the powerful uncomfortable. I'm sorry. So I do want us to name the divide clearly. It is us, those still fighting to make civil rights real, measurable, and meaningful. And then it is them, those trying to turn justice into a grievance hotline for the already advantaged. Now, civil rights was never meant to protect dominance from discomfort. They were meant to protect people from exclusion. And when power starts claiming victimhood, it is not under attack. It is being challenged. And that's what they're afraid of. The challenge here is long overdue. And no amount of official videos will change one simple truth. And that is equality feels like oppression only to those who were never meant to share. Let's continue the conversation in the comment section. I do want to hear what your thoughts are on this. And while you're at it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. That's it from me. Till we meet again, it is bye-bye for now.